Guys, I'm Joba from the Artidote and I'm here today with
So, I studied philosophy for a reason. I'm from Delhi and I've always wanted to go to this one particular college, which I learned off on a rafting trip with my parents. I saw a huge truck full of like these really cool looking, teenagers wearing green polo t-shirts that said St. Stephen's College, and I was like, damn, this college takes their kids to go rafting. I want to be in that college. And I didn't know at the time that it was like the greatest arts college, and blah 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 blah, although it is, and I'm very proud of myself. And I would do wear it like a chip on my shoulder, but I wanted to go there, and I wanted to study literature, but something happened when I was 16 that completely changed that. In India, it's so, what happens with your board exams and the college that you choose is really important. Like, it's sadly important. It's almost like the worth that you have of yourself is dictated by the education system, right? So when you get to class 11, class 12, all of my friends' parents, everyone was just talking about what stream are you going to choose? Are you going to be an arts kid? Are you going to be a science kid? Or are you going to be a commerce kid? People start having these conversations. You already start mapping out the rest of your life based on decisions that you make then when you're 16.
Is this true though? Like in the grand scheme of things, do they really matter that much? Is it the competition like that fierce where it really affects or dictates the future of your life?
Unless you're really, really certain that you want to be in the sciences or you want to be a doctor, I think everything else is kind of fluid. Business, which is commerce, is, we both know, is possible regardless of what you study or even if you study, right? Humanities just is so expansive, it literally like trains you how to think. Sciences, I think, are the only things that you're supposed to do. Like if you want to be a nanobiologist, like you got to do science at some point. Unfortunately, a lot of schools in India don't give you the option to study history and physics and psychology. You have to choose one bucket and do that. So anyway, I was going through that process myself. I always knew I was leaning towards humanities, but class 11, I think July, I knew that I had to do philosophy. What led to that was a series of unfortunate events. I have brothers all around, right? Like I'm in a family that only has brothers and brothers and brothers like around. I get very rich on Rakhi, it's awesome, but I've never had like a sister. And my mother's not been very, she's not extremely feminine, or she's not the typical, like I would never go shopping with her. I would never do all these girly things with her. My dad taught me how to catch a ball before I could spell my name. I like respect him for that, but there was still a part of me that wanted some sort of female connection. I found that in my sister, my cousin sister, Kritika, and she was older than me. She got to college before I did. When I was 16, she was already she was already through with her first year of her college, but she constantly wanted to get out and go to LSR, this other college that is supposed to be very prestigious. She didn't get in. And a few days after that, I got the news that she just jumped off the building in Gurgaon and killed herself. And it was all over the news. I was in tuition in my house, and I get this call from a common friend saying, watch the news right now, what are you doing? Like, look at what's happening. Nobody in my family knew that. We put on the TV, it was everywhere. I was getting calls. I couldn't understand what's happening. But
how old were you?
16.
No.
But I don't, even now when I'm talking to you, I don't remember a lot of what I was feeling. I just know that that event is where a lot of things started. I just really spiraled down after that. I went to a dark place. I did not talk to my parents a lot. I stopped listening to anybody. I stopped trying to express myself. I kind of like closed off from all of the friends that I had, and I got with a crowd that was into drugs, and they were much older than me, and just generally people that my parents would not want to invite home. I started dating this guy who was the drug dealer of that area, and I did a lot of drugs. I started smoking pot, I did acid when I was 16, I did so many things that I don't even remember. I don't even know why I was doing it. It was just something to do. It was just a form of escape or something, but it led me to a lot of different conversations in my head. I remember this one specific time when we just smoked a joint, and this other guy in the room looked back, he turned around and he touched the wall, and he was like, how do you know? He was like, what color is this wall? I said, it's blue. He said, how do you know it's blue? And that changed everything, because I never questioned that. I only know it's blue because people have told me it's blue. Is this really blue? Is blue something I perceive? Is it what I touch? Is this name what I've given it? Is it a name that is it
what we agree upon?
Is what we agree upon. A fact is a consensus, so there are no facts, so you don't believe in anything. And that one question, man, it just led me to think and research a lot about what was then to be my existential quest, right?
Wow.
And when you're 16 and you're full of these questions and you don't have anyone to guide you, it can get very scary. And back then, like, people would look at like this existential teenager and just like foo-foo that, right? You'd be like, you're just going through something all of us have been through. But I genuinely had a question. So when I turned 18, on my 18th birthday, I cried my eyes out to my parents because I was expecting them to tell me when I turned 18 that now that I'm an adult, like I wanted to know what my place was in the world, like what is my purpose, what am I supposed to do, why am I here? And I genuinely expected that to be what my 18th birthday would be about.
Do you expect it to be presented with that revelation?
Yeah.
For somebody to do it for you?
Yeah.
Or for you to sort of like, oh, I'm 18?
No, I expected my parents to tell me. Because I think maybe because my whole life they've been telling me what I'm supposed to do in that year. But I was really upset that now that I was an adult, I didn't know what the hell I was doing on this planet, what humans were doing on this planet, why was the planet here, what are we supposed to do, but now we're here, so we have to do something. It was very, very hard. It was so unguided. It was just taking me to the strangest places. And luckily, like, I managed to convince my parents that it's not literature or economics that I'm interested in, but I really just want to solve this. It happened to happen in the college of my choice, and I went to Stephens. I had a beautiful team of professors who guided us through this journey, and then I started realizing like a lot of things about what had been happening when I was 16, about why Kritika did what she did, why she didn't talk to someone, why my parents were so hell-bent about, you know, having a career perspective in mind when choosing my my area of study. And I started wondering about why it was so different for me and so different from my brother. So I wanted to be a lawyer, specifically for women in some sense, and that catapulted into like, this is an India problem, so this is a country problem, so maybe I should do something with the UN where we learn from other people. So I'm in college, I'm thinking I want to work for the UN, but then I discovered the camera. I learned how to use a proper DSLR camera though, and I loved it. I got lost in it, and I could tell stories through it. There were so many things because of, I mean, even now, I'm sure you have so many questions. I've said so much in such a little time. There's so many layers. It's hard for me also to process and explain everything that happened. But visually, it was easier for me to be able to show you what I was going through in some ways. I wanted to just know if I was the only one.
Okay.
Like, you know, when people would read what I wrote along with like a photograph, or I would read short stories, like I would shoot short stories, and like I would interlate with like spoken word poetry or something. When people would come to me and tell me that they understood and they felt like that as well, that's what I was looking for in hindsight. I didn't want to be creating it for myself. I wanted it to be something that would make me feel relieved, whatever I created.
We talked about a lot of things, about life, hardships through life, reaching moments of just a lot of pressure, right? Moments that make you want to make choices that sometimes might upset some people, how to navigate through those choices, and also about why we are where we are today without necessarily being the thing that we studied to become.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we established today was that choosing what you study doesn't mean you're choosing what you will do in life. Yet, what you study will stay with you in whatever you do.